What's up, guys? Welcome back to another TheSportUniverse Reacts. Is that nice? Yeah. As explained multiple times, there's not a lot going on in the sports world, but some interesting news that I hadn't actually heard about, but I'll get into it. Today, top high school player Jalen Green, who's the #1 prospect in ESPN's 2020 Top 100 high school basketball players, decided to not go through the college system, but go through the new, it's called NBA/G League pathway. So basically what this pathway is, I've been reading up on it, and it's kind of actually interesting. He's the first player to decide to go through this pathway, and basically what they wanted was a way to get around the one and done rule, and their hopes is through this program, it can allow players that have no interest in college to not have to get a college education, and they can just then focus on basketball, which is really interesting. Obviously, the one and done rule has been under scrutiny for a while now, and the pressures of players like LaMelo Ball going to Australia rather than going to a college definitely hurt, first off, the NCAA system, but also the NBA system, because they're realizing that these players, that they're missing out on an opportunity to control these players money-wise and stuff like that. So basically, this ESPN article lays it out well. So I'm going to read, there's like 3 paragraphs that really lay out what this whole G League pathway is about, and I'll get into it. So basically it says, the season could include 10 to 12 games against G League teams that wouldn't count in standings, sources said. The primary objective will be assimilation and growth into the NBA in several levels, from playing to the teaching of life skills. The salary bonus structure in Green's contract, for example, is expected to include financial incentives for games played, completing community events, and attending life skills programs coordinated by the G League's oversight of the program, sources said. The NBA's plan is to stock the team with veteran pro players who would be willing to balance mentorship of Green and other prospects with the personal opportunities that might emerge because of the intense NBA scouting exposure that will come with these teams. And just money-wise, a G League initiative that sources say will pay elite prospects $500,000 plus and provide a 1-year developmental program outside the minor league's traditional team structure. So, basically what I took from that is that the whole point of this program is, well, besides the money aspect of getting the players away from the NBL and focusing them more on the NBA. So each of these players that sign up for this system, hold on, I want to check. Did it say 10 to 12 players? 10 to 12. 10 to 12 games, yeah. So they're going to create this team. Obviously Jalen Green being the first player, and there's other players being discussed right now that could possibly join. I think it's really open to any of the top prospects, so I guess they just pick those. They put those players on a team together, and they end up basically being trained by NBA coaches and being mentored by veterans that are on their team, and also other players who want an opportunity to show their skills, which I don't know how that's going to work, because how do they decide those types of players, but that'll be interesting. They'll play on a team together. They'll play 10 to 12 games against G League opponents, G League teams, so the G League teams are going to be forced to play in these games. They're not going to count to the standings or anything. I'm sorry. It's just all going to be focused on mentorship and stuff like that. Mentorship, honing your skills and stuff. This is a really interesting idea. This is the first I heard of it. Maybe I just haven't been paying close enough attention to this pathway idea. But in my opinion, I'm kind of on the fence, because the one and done rule in multiple ways is a silly thing, but in other ways it's not that stupid of an idea, because you want to get this is like the fine line where between education and sports, like what does society value more, I guess. And you want to try and get kids to have an education, have a higher education in a lot of parts. I'm not going to focus on the current debate about if college is really worth it. You want to get kids to get into the college system, and maybe they decide, you know what, let me get my education now and hold off on basketball until those 4 years are up. But in the other sense, the top prospects, they know what they want. They want to go straight into the NBA, and there's no trying to beat around the bush. Adam Silver knows exactly what they want. Anyone who knows these players, anyone that understands the talent that they have, they know that they'd rather go to the NBA than have a college education. And I mean, I wasn't going to talk about, but even now the debate if college is even worth it. I mean, it makes it even less of a point for these players to go. But basically, what I'm trying to say is, I guess I agree with the trying to get rid of the one and done rule. That's the first point. Secondly, I think that this program will be interesting. How they get veteran players that want to play to be on these teams and basically seem like a coach to these players. Why would they want to play? I'm sure there's a lot of money incentives for them. Why would these players that are veterans want to play in games that don't really matter? Kind of just like backyard basketball with rules, obviously, but you know what I mean. Where's the, like, if there's other players that aren't going to be top prospects and veteran players, how is that decided which players those are? And you also don't want this to just be seen as like a money grab for the NBA. So those are probably the problems that I see with it. I do like the idea that they're trying to build. Yeah, I think with the one and done rules basically being under scrutiny for a while, and where everything's at, it kind of makes sense. Sometimes what happens with these reacts is like I start with one position and then hearing myself talk about it and getting the reasons out there, I kind of understand it. So yeah, I think I do agree with this idea of the G League pathway, and it's kind of interesting. A little new nuance to the NBA. That's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.